We've been in the Pacific Northwest for years. It's always been somewhat of a dental hub, so we've had access to some great talent. Lyndon's a fairly small town with a comfortable way of life, nestled between the ocean and some pretty serious mountains, and a couple of big cities just close enough to be useful. With about 28 employees in our two-story plant on the edge of town, we can really get production ramped up when we need to. And with over 150 manufacturers who embed our parts into their equipment, we really need to stay on top of things. While we're so close, let's just fly inside and you can see for yourself how it all comes together. Life in assembly can get pretty stressful, trying to balance production with quality and speed. Our assemblers are super picky and they don't compromise. If anything strikes them as a bit different, they can stop the entire production process to have it checked out. Fortunately, we do have a production manager who is highly trained in motivational management and keeps a close eye on all processes to make sure everything flows smoothly. We actually manage several thousand finished and raw parts, so a bit of a dance to make sure everything comes together. Raw material in and out of our first floor machine shop, daily UPS shipments into our upper level receiving area, goods in process and finished goods doing the circuit upstairs. It's a lot for our purchasers and production people to manage. Add to that, pulling any number of finished goods correctly for every order and getting them to shipping for on-time delivery, it can get pretty intense. Of course, none of this could happen without our backbone of engineers, sales, and technical folk. They manage to stay busy all day designing, improving, and assisting clients in the field with components. Of course, many years ago, most of us have worked for manufacturers, building everything from hundreds of dental units a month to watercraft for the military, so most of this is second nature. And on the front line, we strive to be there for those who need us. No pressing one for your language preference here, only real people in real time. And because we're small, they can do whatever it takes to help our clients with whatever it is that they need. I think the main point we like to make, though, is that, hey guys, the drone's right here. I thought I was just going to narrate. Sorry? Okay. The main point we like to make here is we're proud to be your supplier, and we're really thankful for the opportunity. We're pretty excited about our new catalog. It gives us the opportunity to showcase to you all of the new parts and pieces that we've developed over the past while. You know, some are simple, like a new fitting that you've been asking for, but essentially, all of the components that you guys have been letting us know that you'd like, we've done our best to get them in the new catalog. And rest assured that every day, week, month after that, as we bring new products online, we will be putting them into mailers for you, email, and because the catalog's printed digitally, we can do new updated copies throughout the year and get them out to everybody, and they'll be fully up to speed. I had a phone call once. A fella came in and he was asking me about a part and a component, wanted to know the retail price, and so I looked on here and I'm like, shit, it says $37.20. That's retail. I don't know how to give him his dealer price. I got to divide that by 2 in a hurry. So I've rounded everything up to make it real easy for everybody in the field to divide by 2 so you can get your dealer price. A few other things, we do have a few exploded diagrams in here in the back of each section now. You don't have to go to the back of the whole catalog to find them. Put them in each section. Put a pretty robust cross-reference list in the back. I think there's around 1,200 parts and pieces in here that cross-reference between us and DCI. So if you've got a DCI part number, you can whip into the back of our catalog and have a look and go from there. Had a little bit of fun doing it. We custom built a chess set for the cover, and I'm thinking about making a few more of them, but we're not too sure. At this point, they're not for sale. Once we get through the mock-up stage of a catalog, it's much like I just showed you. We spread everything out and everybody gets a crack with a highlighter and we run through it, and you know, the obvious, you look for pictures that are mismatched and things like that, and then we bring it onto the screen. We actually have a girl who does most of the legwork on this and makes it pretty, but we're able to just sit through here and take a look at it page over page over page and just make sure that everything is where we want it, the color's good, the photos are in place, and of course the prices are correct. And a few other neat little things we can do that we just You know, we're pretty easy to amuse here. Come on in and take a look at this. We've gone and stuffed Mount Baker and a sailboat and part of the Pacific Northwest into it. So next time you see a foot control in our catalog, you'll know what that is. Nobody else will. So other than that, the catalog is digitally printed. So we, instead of printing 4,000 or 8,000 all at once, we can update it as we go along. So it gives us the ability to add new products as we go along. And other than that, we'll keep you guys all updated with regular mailings and a few little updates that come by email. So, you know, customer service is one of those things that companies often leave till the end, or everybody's got good customer service. They just think that if you answer the phone, that's pretty much all it takes. We found over the years that, you know, one of the important things is to have people on the phones that like to be on the phones. We've got girls and guys here that love to talk dental, they love to chat, they're good at taking your order, they like to learn, they like the relationships, and that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on is, I mean, A, answering the phone when you call, B, you don't have to press 1 for English or 2 for some other language, but just the fact that we're actually interested in hearing what you're doing and what you're going through, and you know, sure, we'll take your order, but we'd like to do more than just sell you parts. We'd like to help you build your business and keep you growing, and I think customer service is a really super important part of that. So one of the cool things is from time to time we'll have people available to us that have been in the field for a number of years, and we've got them on the phones. We have one fellow, for example, who's been machining way back in Dentec days, back in the late 80s, early 1990s, and he's been building dental equipment forever, and he's our technical guy. I mean, he's talked to everybody about everything, so when you've got him on the phone, he's one of those guys that's actually been in the trenches building. One of the other things about customer service is that you need to let them do their own thing. There's so many companies out there that are so big and rigid that the people on the phone have to follow a certain protocol, and this is all they can do, and they're limited to that, and you have to go up to a supervisor for this or that. But you know, we're a company of a size that our people on the phones, they can do whatever you want. I mean, they can set up special orders for you, they can take back parts and components you don't want. We don't even ask for an RMA. If you don't want a part, and it's been in the doctor's office for 3 years, and the doctor's spouse doesn't like it because it's the wrong shade of purple, you know what, we don't care. Send it back. We'd like to know if there's been an issue with it so that we can record that and use that in our quality assurance program, but you know what, we're easy. You don't have to call for an RA, you don't have to do any of that. Just send it back and we'll credit you and we're good. I mean, if we make life easy for you, it's good for everybody. People ask us, you know, dental equipment, is that what you do? It's boring, there's not much to it in design, and we're like, yeah. One of our engineers had worked for a number of years with Cavo and Dentec. Our director of engineering, in fact, has been in the marine industry working for some government contracts, racing bikes, just all kinds of cool stuff. So we can bring this talent in and utilize it when we design a part. And it's not just making a part on the screen. We can build a part on the screen, rotate it, make sure everything fits, but then we'll come down here and we'll prototype it. We do all of our prototyping down here in-house. We can send a drawing out, we can have something printed, SLA printed out of plastic, and then we can throw it in the field and run it for a while. We make a few of our parts and pieces in-house down here, but what we do best is we find people that are really, really good at that. There's companies out there that run CNC machines that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars that can run the same part repetitively, quality, built in to a thousandth of an inch or less, and that's something we let them do. We know better than to think that we can do all that here. We like to focus on design and assembly and some manufacturing. Another aspect of manufacturing and engineering specifically is that it's great to design a really cool part, but unless you can make it and make it well every time, it doesn't do you any good. So you have to think about the end process when you're manufacturing and engineering, and that's one of the things that our guys are particularly good at. They can take a part and say, well, okay, before we finish this up, how are we going to make this? And so they may even have to go to the nth degree and design a machine that will be able to crimp syringe tips, for example, or bend them, or there's just lots of afterthought that has to go into something when you first start designing it. And I think that's one of the things that makes engineering, specifically with dental, a lot of people say, dental's pretty dry, but you know, when you get into it, it's actually pretty cool. You know, there's aspects of quality control that just don't come to mind when somebody says quality control or quality assurance. Big part of quality assurance is making sure that down the road you don't have product failures, because it's catastrophic for, you know, for our dealers. It's catastrophic for pretty much everybody in the field. So and very expensive. So one of the things that we try and do in that manner is make sure that our products are tested, cycle tested, so they know that they're going to last a long time. Some of those examples are, for example, here a quick connect. Something like that, as benign as a little quick connect, we have to make sure that it'll go for years. So we'll get, you know, 15, 20,000 cycles on this little guy here, and just make sure that we're not going to have issues. Hand pieces with hand piece tubing, that's another one. You've got the doctor doing this all day long, and it's a classic spot for a failure is between the tubing and the connector. And so that's another one of these things that we just test. We can get 40,000 cycles with a tool like this, and that'll simulate years of service. And that gives us a pretty good idea in-house of if there's going to be a failure, where it's going to happen and when it's going to happen. Quite a few of us have actually manufactured complete dental units, chairs and lights back in Dentec days in the late 80s and 1990s. So we know what it's like to have a system down. We've all done technical service for units. So the quality that you have to build into a complete delivery system, we try and build that into every little part and component, because honestly, these days with 160 manufacturers buying our parts and components, chances are that's what you'll find when you open the lid of a control. Another one is clean water systems. Bottles, you know, notorious bottles. They're molded, they're plastic, they'll split, so our job is to make sure they don't here and don't in the field. And so that's another thing we'll do is we'll pressure test, and we'll run this up to twice its working pressure and let it cycle for 30, 40, 50,000 times, and that'll give us 3, 4, 5 years of data on whether this thing will last. It's constantly expanding and contracting, and that's just something that you have to be aware of when you do a product like this. So to wrap up, I mean, quality assurance is a global issue for us, and that's one of the reasons why we take great care in it, because it is really every aspect of your business, right down to, you know, just what you do, how you're on the phone. It's just one of the things that we like to do.